thank everybody for coming to the Kenosha Community Media, Kenosha Public Library presentation of kickoff event of the Nosferatu event. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm Jason Remkus, the media coordinator at Kenosha Community Media. And for those who don't know what Kenosha Community Media, we are a local community television media station here in town. And we broadcast our channel on Channel 14 at on Spectrum Cable, and we're also live streaming the programming on kenoshamedia.org. And we also have our YouTube channel where we can see videos of Channel 14, Kenosha Community Media programming. We do the Kenosha Civic Veterans Parade, we've done the Kenosha Literacy Spelling Bee, and just a lot of local events as well. So it's a great opportunity for creativity, and that's where we got the idea for doing this event tonight, and actually for the summer. So what it is we came up with looked at the North, what do we got here? City of Northampton, Massachusetts. They came up with an idea called Crowdsourced Cinema. Has anybody heard of Crowdsourced Cinema? Okay, well, Crowdsourced Cinema is a great opportunity to recreate one of their movies. And they tried it, and they just had a number of teams get together, and it was about 40 teams, and one of the programs they did was Raiders of the Lost Ark. And what you do is you get a team, maybe a few friends, family, co-workers, and pick a 5-minute scene and recreate it however you want. And so if we could cue up the first video of a promo of Northampton, Massachusetts Crowdsourced Cinema, some examples of how they did it down there. So John, if we could show that video of them recreating the Raiders of the Lost Ark in a fun way.
This is no good. It looks like you're running in place.
I am running in place.
Oh, hey everyone. We have something really fun happening this summer at NCTV. It's a new community filmmaking project called Crowdsourced Cinema. Is that the whip? Give it a crack. All right, we'll fix it in post. So what is it? Crowdsourced Cinema is a community filmmaking project where we recreate scenes from famous films. You could use actors or puppets or stop motion animation. This year we're going to be recreating Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. So how does it work? Get a few of your creative friends together and go to crowdsourcedcinema.com. Sign up and NCTV will assign your group scenes from the film. Groups will use the same time frame and the same script as the original, but otherwise they can interpret creatively. And at the end of the summer we'll get together and watch the crowdsourced version of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. You'll have from now until June 19th to sign up and participate. Then you'll have till mid-August to complete the scenes you're shooting. If you didn't get all that, or if you have any questions, don't worry. Go to crowdsourcedcinema.com and get more information there.
Everybody quiet on set. Audio. Me.
Sign up for Crowdsourced Cinema. It's going to be a lot of fun. Action!
So that's an example of crowdsourced cinema, which they did in Northampton, and they've been doing it pretty consecutively every year. And this year they're doing Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And what they're doing, again, then what they do is they take a 3-minute clip, get some people together, and recreate it however you want, and then we stitch all the scenes together, and we have a premiere in the after the summer, so around October. So this year we got together and we said, well, what's a great movie we can recreate creatively, and it came up with Nosferatu, which is a 1922 black and white silent film. And we do have a guest speaker here this evening. For those who has anybody heard or have seen the film Nosferatu? 1, 2, okay, that's good. And so let's hear a little bit about some background and some history of the Nosferatu. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause. He's in here in the studio, and the Fusion studio space, the one and only Dr. Destruction. And his co-host, Lilith Flecker.
You know, it really is special that this event is happening. This is something very cool. It's this great selection of a film to do this with, and it's a silent, which should make it a little bit easier. Now, how many people actually, show some hands, that have actually seen Murnau's Nosferatu? That's 3 of you out there. Wait, Jason, you saw it. All right. Well, it originally was intended to be it's a German film that was originally intended to be Dracula. But Stoker's wife would never sign off on the rights for them to call this Dracula. You will see, though, some, there's all sorts of public domain prints or DVDs available of Nosferatu, and some actually call him Dracula in the picture. Matt Schreck was the actor. It was very hard to find some pictures of him. But here's one that I think is pretty interesting because clearly, you know, there's been something done to his ear, and I believe this is sort of a skull cap, so this poor man really didn't look like that for real. He also had fangs. He had 2 fangs in the front of his teeth, like where his front teeth would be, which is really interesting because later when Bela Lugosi would play Dracula, and, well, you know, everyone knows Bela Lugosi is Dracula. Lugosi didn't have any fangs, but the original did, Nosferatu that is, and it's much more like Stalker's book. Dracula was not the suave, debonair, romanticized vampire like Lugosi later portrayed and made famous. He was totally creepy. He was much more like Stalker's Dracula. Here's another good picture of him. He's pretty creepy. It's a pretty creepy movie, and there's so many building blocks inside this film that could give you the opportunity to actually come up with your own little part of the movie you want to recreate because there's so many cool things going on. It's a silent, that makes it a lot easier. And again, here's just another weird image. Hard to find images because I doubt the film was done, you know, the early film was very grainy and bright. And even though it's supposed to be a vampire out at night, I think most of it was shot in the daylight, which is sort of interesting. But it's a great silent film. It's a classic. It's really the original Dracula. Another very interesting thing about Nosferatu, they came up with that name probably by some old legend. Stalker himself found out about Vlad the Impaler very late in the writing of Dracula, and then he added that element to it. But yeah, a lot of the lighting and everything probably allowed for a lot of some really bad production values to smooth over the surface because everything's so very brightly lit. So I'm amazed that Kenosha has chosen this film for this. It could have been Raiders of the Lost Ark, but of course Nosferatu's much more up my alley, and so I think that's really great. And of course, the library, the public library did a thing on Edgar Allan Poe for their great big read, which I thought was great. So that's really good to see. And we've got a lot of cool locations here in Kenosha. Kemper Center for one. I'm sure you can get permission if you want to film. As a matter of fact, I can guarantee you the door that Nosferatu walks through in one of the scenes, that exact door is in the Kemper Center. It's exactly the same measurements, and so it'd be very easy to work with that. And I guess that about wraps it up. But I will say one more little thing about Nosferatu is, even though it was a different name for Dracula, and because they couldn't use that name because of publishing rights, Nosferatu lived on. He lived on. There was a Klaus Kinski, that was it. Whenever I have to think of a name. Klaus Kinski did a real version of Nosferatu. He's also, of course, there's a Nosferatu type vampire in Salem's Lot, and probably one of the scariest portrayals of a vampire I've ever seen is in Salem's Lot. And then even What We Do in the Shadows is sort of a spoof documentary about vampires, which has a lot of the different cliches. They too had to have a Nosferatu vampire. So why he's kind of this original Dracula that never got his credit. He managed to live on in the Dracula mythology. I'd like to turn over the microphone to Lovecraft now and some of her thoughts on the subject of this project.
Well, hello. I'm basically going to build a little bit off of what he said, and like he was saying, we could have, well, you guys could have picked any movie, and I think picking Nosferatu is an absolutely perfect choice when you look at the history of the film. He talked a little bit about the fact that it wasn't a film that was easily gotten when it first came out, due to Stoker's family trying to prevent the film from being out. It's a film that survived a lot of struggles. When I grew up in Kenosha, this was Kenowhere. That was always the attitude, and the attitude that I grew up with was get out as fast as you can because you'll never get anything here. When I joined Kenosha Community Media doing Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater a little over 3 years ago now, I realized this city has so much. There's so much happening. There's filmmakers, there's creative people, and now there's this. I'm so excited that we're covering a great film, one of the greatest films ever made. If you study any film class, this is the classic that you'll study. But we're doing it in such a great way and in a program that just builds upon the creativity and the wonderful artistic community that we have here in Kenosha. I look at a lot of people here and I know that you are really creative people, and I know you have a lot to offer to this town. And through Kenosha Community Media, through everything that they do, we're going to make Kenosha even less of a Kenowhere and more of the place to be. Thank you.
They got my vote. All right, thank you so much for coming, Dr. Destruction and Lilith. They've got an excellent program, the Dr. Destruction Crimson Theater, which you can see Tuesdays at 3 p.m., Saturdays at 9 p.m., and then midnight as well. So it's a great show and a great time to get involved in Nosferatu, the crowdsourced cinema. So we talked about what crowdsourced cinema is. So now you guys know what it is. It's just recreating a scene of your choice, and it's just 3 to 4 minutes, bringing your creativity, and that's what happened with. We shot a promo with Dr. Destruction and Lilith at the Kemper Center and the Kenosha Theater, and just the creative juices just starts flowing, seeing the different locations. So we're going to do now is show clips of the Nosferatu film, and when you're watching it, think of, gee, where would I shoot this? Who would I get? What can I use? What sort of creative angle would I do if I filmed it? It's also kind of nice, why we also chose Nosferatu, is there's no script to follow, meaning it's a silent film, so that you don't have to memorize anything, it's just all motion. So if we can just show clips of the 1922 Nosferatu, directed by F.W. Murrow. So that was clips of the Nosferatu, and once I agree, it's probably one of the best films ever made because of one, they were trying to destroy it, and then number two, it lasted all these years and just groundbreaking. And they didn't know back then DVDs, Netflix, movies, theaters, it just lasted the test of time. So we got some creative work up there and also creative people in here. So when we're done with the event, it's a great idea to network. We've got some excellent creative. We have Francisco Loyola from the Creative Space, and then we have Glenn Kelly from Funny Guys. And special thanks to Don Miller for using us, our Fusion Space as well. But it's a collaborative effort, and that's what this is for tonight. And we are collaborating with, that I spoke about before, is with the Kenosha Public Library. And there's another source for creative information, and so many opportunities they have at the Kenosha Public Libraries, all the different branches. We're very fortunate to have the excellent Kenosha library source here. We've got the Simmons, the Bookmobile, the North Side, South Side, and the West Branch. So there's a lot of opportunity, and we're collaborating with them on this project. It's not just the film, but there's also a lot of different events going on throughout this summer as well. And here in the Fusion Space, we have a guest speaker from the Kenosha Public Library. Let's bring up Marcia Sear, Digital Media Librarian. Marcia, come on up.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Marcia Sear, the Digital Strategy Librarian at Kenosha Public Library. First off, I want to say a big thank you to both John and Jason from Kenosha Community Media for reaching out to us and giving us a brand new opportunity at the library to work on this just really fun, collaborative community project where we can reach out and maybe meet people that don't come into our library branches but have an interest in the creative arts and things like that. So I just want to thank these guys for being just really terrific collaborative partners. We're really excited. In case you didn't know, we just opened a digital media lab at the Southwest Library branch on the corner of 38th Avenue and 80th Street. And Jason is there I am, embarrassing. Jason is our production instructor, and we have a green screen room with two incredible cameras, TriCasters, a professional LED lighting kit, a teleprompting system, production control room with the new tech TriCaster system in it that has a separate graphics laptop that you can, in pre-production, you can work on your own images, graphics, videos, sound clips, all that stuff that you can have ready to preload. On the other side of the production studio, we have another little lab that we're calling the post-production room. It's purple. And it has 3 iMacs in it that are loaded with Adobe Creative Cloud that Kenosha Community Media has provided the licenses for. So if you've used that in the past, maybe in school, maybe at a different job, but you don't have access to it anymore, you now have access from the Kenosha Public Library. And it'll also have video editing software. In the past, it's been used for like music mixing, sound creation, all that types of stuff. So it's just a brand new, really exciting venture that we've been able to partner with Kenosha Community Media on. And they've provided most of the equipment, and we're providing the room, the accessible hours, and hopefully some of this community programming that's going to be able to extend out and beyond maybe typical regular users. So speaking of that special programming, In addition to the teams that are going to form to create the 3 to 4 minute clips that are going to be the formation of the film, we have some other non-filmmaking events designed to just be fun, community building type activities. So after tonight, next week, Friday, June 15th, we'll be showing a film about 5:45, doors lock at 6 o'clock at Southwest Library. And we'll be showing The Disaster Artist. Oh, John's got a clip on that.
Okay, who here can really reveal themselves to the class? Anybody?
I'll go. Don't talk about me, not to class, not to anybody.
Yeah, no, of course.
Show up on time, try not to fall asleep, everybody.
Am I hearing an accent?
Oh, no, what do you mean?
How old are you?
Don't worry, I'm Greg age.
You're 19? Yeah. I just turned 14.
Wow, happy birthday. This is my movie, and this is my life. You're not Greg. You and me, we are the same.
Oh yeah, how's that?
We both have this dream that we'll be famous.
Yeah, I guess we do.
You have a malevolent presence. You are a perfect villain. I could see you as Dracula, Frankenstein.
I'm not Frankenstein. I'm hero.
I give them job, I give them salary. How do you spend $5 million on this movie, Greg?
Are you kidding me? $5 million?
And they are not grateful. Nobody respects my vision.
Where were you born, Tommy?
Greg, that's not part of the scene.
You want an easier question? Where does the money come from, huh?
Stop, this is on camera.
I know it's on camera, just like you want it.
I do this whole movie for you, Greg.
Can we just take it again? Try to lose the accent.
The rules to the class are simple. And the class, let me forward start.
So nothing like kicking off a summer of amateur filmmaking, watching a movie about filmmaking. June 16th, that will be the day after the film, we'll have an orientation at the Southwest Library in the activities room. And Jason and John are going to be basically getting to the nuts and the bolts of getting teams signed up, talking about how this film is going to be made. And hopefully we'll have enough people to sign up for all the slots. Continuing on to July, we're going to have another movie about filmmaking on July 20th called Son of Rambo. I believe John's got a clip on that.
You're going to be the stuntman in the film I'm making for Screeners. I am the son of Rambo! You want to be the son of Rambo?
Promise me you'll put these things out of your mind, William.
I'm not supposed to be friends with you. What? What's wrong with me? It's our religion. If they find out we're friends, then I'll be in the worst trouble ever. Well... Good morning, Lee Carter. Ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! You all right? I'm all right, Lee Carter!
Are you that little boy making a film? Mm-hmm. Can we be in it, please?
I will be star of your movie.
Is this all right, Will?
It's perfect. It's my film. You said it was my film. He's driving the Jeep for the getaway scene.
Well, if I'm not needed, I'll be taking my camera back then.
Don't be stupid. It's not you, it's them. I hate them.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? It was better when it was just us two.
Son of Rainbow, take one. Click.
Action! I've come to save you, Rambo! Hold on! Ready?
Let's make the movie!
Hurry up, people! We're losing light! Cut!
That just makes me smile. And moving on in July, we'll be having our first book club. We'll be reading Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. That one is July 26th, 6:30 p.m. at the library. Just come, read the book or read part of the book and come. We have the book available for checkout at the library. And if you're a Kindle or Amazon person, that the ebook is actually available for free at Amazon right now. So one of us will be running that book club. It might be myself or it might be another librarian. August 18th, we are going to be putting on our second annual Comic-Con. Our first one was a year ago in May. It was really successful. We had at least well over 1,000 people that came out that day for Comic-Con. And this year we're going to expand it. We're going to be putting a little bit more effort into getting creative artists to represent this year. And it's for all ages and all comic and graphic novel lovers. August 23rd, we'll have a second book club, The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. And in September, we'll be doing a few more things. September 9th, we'll be showing at the Northside Library another film about filmmaking, Sunset Boulevard. I think John has a clip on that one.
Speaking. I'm talking from the bedroom of Norma Desmond. Don't bother with a rewrite, man. Take this direct. Ready? As day breaks over the murder house.
Yes, you'll read the big black headlines about Norma Desmond and this Hollywood scandal. But you'll never read the true story about the rest of us who were part of it. Me, for instance, Joe Gillis, a promising young writer from Dayton, Ohio. And Betty, that nice kid I met at a Hollywood party who knew nothing about me, but knew what she wanted. Don't you love Artie?
Of course I love him. I always will. I'm just not in love with him anymore.
What happened?
You did?
Well, we should have lived happily ever after, like they do in the movies. But this was different, because this is a Hollywood story about the people who make the movies. The little ones that you never hear of, like Betty and me. The great ones like Cecil B. DeMille. All those who knew Norma Desmond, a strange woman who left her mark on all of us who crossed her path.
Has it ever occurred to you that I may have a life of my own, that there may be some girl that I'm crazy about?
Who? Some car hop or a dress extra?
What I'm trying to say is that I'm all wrong for you. You want a Valentino, somebody with polo ponies, a big shot.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it. Say it.
Gloria Swanson, one of the great personalities of this generation in a role that comes to an actress once in a lifetime. Rising to the heights, William Holden creates a startling portrayal. And a new star is born in Sunset Boulevard, Miss Nancy Olson.
Joe? Where are you? What's this all about?
Why don't you come out and see for yourself? The address is 10,086 Sunset Boulevard.
Yes, come out to see for yourself the film that reaches a new milestone of dramatic daring. The film that every critic says is a giant among motion pictures.
Other things happening in September. We'll have another book club September 24th. That is our ongoing sci-fi fantasy book club. That's a book club that's been meeting for many years. It's a Monday night. The theme for the month is just going to be talking about vampire or the horror genre in general. So just come on out and meet some people that are already interested in things that you're interested in. September 27th, we're having a craft, I guess you would call it a craft, led by Emily Kostelik, and it's creating coffin shadow boxes. And she's pretty excited. She started collecting all this really cool, junky stuff to put in our coffins. And there'll be another Friday night movie in September. That one's still to be determined. Some of the things that we might be able to offer any amateur filmmakers or people who are trying this out for the first time. We have some really pretty cool digital equipment. We check out a lot of things from the library that's not books. So we have several GoPro camera kits, and we have some Vixia R800 cameras, and those come with Gorilla tripods. They're kind of tripods that you can wrap around a pole, or they're like silicone, so you can put them in weird places and get really cool shots. And then we have a 360 camera. So you can set that out in a spot and you can do filming all the way around 360 degrees. So those are all items that are available. If you look in the Kenosha Public Library catalog, the share catalog, you'll find that aside from Kenosha Public Library, some of the other libraries in our area also have digital equipment that you can check out with your library card. Your Kenosha Public Library card is good for any library that's public funded in Racine County, Kenosha County, Walworth, and Rock County. So if you see something in the catalog that is of interest to you, you can put that on hold with your library card. If you don't have a library card, you can stop at any branch. They're free. You just have to have ID and proof of your address. Should I keep going? Yeah. Okay. John's given up. That's okay. September 9th, it's a Sunday afternoon. We'll be showing the classic film, Sunset Boulevard, another film about filmmaking. I'm really excited about the month of October. We have some really cool things coming up. First off, for the month of October, from the 1st to the 31st, we're going to have an art exhibit. It's going to be open to all Kenosha local patrons and KPL staff to basically put on exhibit your Nosferatu or horror film inspired art, craft, whatever it might be. So we've done this in the past. It's been pretty popular with patrons. We've done it for the big read, and we've also done it the holiday time. And it's pretty fun. So if you're looking for a place or looking for a creative outlet, you can do that. We'll have do-it-yourself horror movie posters in the new Media Lab. That'll be available 4 times. The weekend of October 5th and 6th, we are going to have a Vampire Film Fest. But the whole thing is getting kicked off by a community blood drive. So you come in, give some blood, stay for some movies. We have it narrowed down to about 15 different movies that we have the license that we're able to show. And we'll be doing some kind of a vote or something in the summer to narrow it down to maybe 8 or 9 of those films that'll be shown during the film fest. Our teen librarian, Jake, is going to be having a black and white party for teens. It's just black and white theme, black and white clothes, black and white film, black and white snacks, things like that. So that's just especially for teens. Kathy Polavina, the Kenosha Public Library, she's kind of like our resident historian. She does a series called Old Weird America. And in October, her series is going to be Old Weird America, and it's going to be stories of vampires and Dracula in America. And then maybe I should leave the premiere for Jason or John. Do you guys want to talk about the premiere? Oh, okay. October 25th, we're going to have our community premiere. And it's going to be open to everybody, open to the public. And that is going to be happening at the Kenosha Public Museum. And Thursday evening, October 25th, we'll be showing the film. Hopefully we'll have some special guests, some snacks, and a cool premiere kickoff party. So that's all I've got about the library. Did I forget anything, John? Okay, I will hand the mic back to Jason.
So as you can see, just a lot going on on the Kenosha Public Library, and ikpl.info is also their website. And there's a lot of opportunities here as well. This has been familiar territory with the Nosferatu event. I think it was in 2015 we had a event at the Women's Club and talked about it showed a little film of the Nosferatu event and had a horror. In fact, I believe Dean Romano from Outdoor Wild was there. Dean, let's give a round of applause for Dean for coming on down. He's on the board of directors, as well as Rich Schmerling on our board of directors of Kenosha Community Media. So if you'd like any more information about Kenosha Community Media, they'll be here after the event as well. So we had an event over there at the Women's Club. It was a great time, and we had a great musician, artist, composer here tonight that's going to be involved in this Nosferatu event. Let's give a round of applause to Crowdsourced. Crowd, come on up.
That was a really great intro. So the movie or film which we assembled and show in October will run my score, which I wrote in 2008 with collaboration with Crowdsourced and Voices and Verses. We did several concerts of it, and one of them in 2010 was thanks to Kenosha Community Media. It was done in Women's Club, and then we did it also in Parkside. I am personally attached to Nosferatu because I grew up in Czechoslovakia, it was a communist country, and I was this little boy turning on once I was alone, and I turned on TV. There was Nosferatu, and it was I was so scared. It was absolutely my nightmare. Right? It took me years to get over it. I still, if it is midnight and I'm alone, I would not watch it. Maybe I would. But it really scared me. It really scared me. So I see Nosferatu not as a just vampire flick. It was first occult film. It has a lot of advanced techniques in it. It has colorization or tinting of the strip. It has animation. It uses telephoto lenses and negative, the switched black and white. And he's using the people. But what is interesting, this movie, and for you who will be involved in it, is important. It's very much place-oriented film. He is using, in his scenes, he is using, for instance, they traveled, it was done in North Germany, in Lübeck and Wismar, and he traveled to Slovakia, which is probably 600 miles away from the place. He'd never make it to Transylvania. This was easier to get to Slovakia, and I didn't know that in that time. I used to go to those beautiful mountains, and I was driving by those castles all the time and didn't know about it. The main castle is in Orava. That's the scariest part for me. When Orlak is coming out of coffin and opening the door. Oh my God, that was so cool. And then on the end you see the parts of another castle which is close by, which is called Starhrad. And so the whole movie for me, I see it as a requiem, right? Because yes, it is published as a vampire flick, but the main thing is that Ellen will redeem humanity through her death. And that's how I sort of treated that soundtrack, or I call it sound poem inspired by Nosferatu. And going to this way, we will do Voices and Verses. We'll be doing another program on, it will be Friday, September 21st. It will be called Shadows and Light. And we will gather poems and stories from local poets. Anybody can join. And we will put it to the music. And it will be done in St. Matthew's Episcopal Church. So that would be the other twist of it, going from shadows to light. Even the movie itself, if you look at it, evil is really 2D. But that redemption, that positiveness of that movie, that's the, in my opinion, main point. In Bram Stoker's Dracula itself, it's interesting that Dracula itself is more deep than in this movie. One more thing which is connected to the country which I am from, it's Murnau, the director of the movie, when he was in war, he met Serbian soldier, and that soldier told him that his father was a vampire. So there are all these little clips. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Elizabeth Bathory. She was countess in the region of Hungary. She was from a royal family, and she is, I think, even by Guinness Book of Record, the largest serial killer ever. She killed 630 something maidens, and she bathed herself in their blood. And her castle, when she was immured for that, is actually probably 50 miles from this region again. So it's said that the vampire story were inspired by her, and of course then Dracula, the blood the impaler. So yes, please everybody join us. It will be a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right.
Can I ask a question? We aren't able to stay for the entire time, but I was wondering how and where do we sign up for like our snippet or the second episode?
Sure. Testing. Okay. Yes. Crowdsourcedkenosha.com is where you sign up.
I'm sorry.
Crowdsourcedkenosha.com, and I believe it's on the flyer.
Sure.
And that's where you register, and then we'll get in touch. Also, if you could also make it on that Saturday, June 16th, is where we're going to go a little bit more into detail and which scene you want to pick.
And is there a deadline as to when you want us to have that in? Because I know in the video you said you want
August 31st is when it's done. So, so it's whether you want to really get into it and get as exact as you want, or you just have it, want to have a free form and have it more creative and more on a fun type of. We're leaving it all up to you. It's our first time trying this. It's really exciting that we're doing it, and I'm glad you came out for this event. It's going to be a great creative opportunity. I'm sorry, you're going to say something? Or?
Yes, I meant more as to is there a deadline that we have to have, like, this is the piece that I want to do to you all?
Oh, it's a first come, first serve. So, I mean, the longer you wait, that particular scene may get done. So, yes.
How do we, so the scenes that are going to be available are going to be on the website?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a shot list here. It's not scene by scene, but shot by shot.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Oh no, thank you so much for coming as well. And I saw some other hands raised. I'm sorry. No. This is my first press conference. Sorry. Yeah, if it's not taken, right, and then, because we didn't want, let's say everybody wanted the shot where he comes to the doorway and 20 people do it or whatever, that's something. And we picked a shorter movie so that way, again, there's enough to go around and we don't have a lot of unused clips as well. Yes, the lady in the back.
So it says here that you may join Crowdsourced Camp, a free training and production experience taking place June 16th through August 31st, but there's no information as to what that is, and I went on the website, and the website also doesn't have any more information as to what that is.
Sure, that's, again, the June 16th is where we'll talk about the scenes and what equipment it has to offer at the library and also at Kenosha Community Media, where I can, let's say if someone doesn't have any cameras or any type of equipment or just more focusing on the acting or set design or props, that's where I'll step in and actually film it. That will be just that day. After that, it's pretty much on your own to record your scene. You're welcome. Yeah, do you want to come on? Yep. And let's introduce our executive director of Kenosha Community Media, Mr. John Bowman Jr.
I wanted to be like a silent film tonight, stand in the back. I was just explaining to some of the people, the Crowdsourced Cinema Camp, they was talking about the schedule. The 16th of June from 10 a.m. till noon at Southwest Library. We're going to talk about the film, we're going to talk about the scenes, we're going to talk about equipment. We just opened our media lab over there so we can do, if you want to do scenes in front of our green screen and have scenes done that way. If you want to go over to Kemper Center and you don't have your own equipment, we can bring equipment over there. If you just have your actors doing things to our work behind the scenes, we can do all that. If a bunch of people are available, like say on a Tuesday evening, we can arrange to have people out there working with you, Saturday morning, Friday morning. I think the word was ad hoc, depending on the level of interest and when people's schedule is. Is that? Yeah, okay. Any other questions on that? Go ahead.
The camera, like for rental, like, are you guys, do you have to throw down collateral for these cameras, or is it just like an insurance? I'm just like, those.
The Kenosha Public Library has cameras available for checkout if you have a library card.
Yeah, I do. I was just curious about like spreading the word. Like, people are gonna wonder, like, can you just leave with these things?
Well, from the library you couldn't. I think we could have Marcia.
Maybe you guys have it covered. It's a dumb question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, and with the we have additional equipment through Kenosha Community Media, and then we would have staff go out with those people to shoot their scenes. Yeah, unless they're already part of Kenosha Community Media, that's certified for our training and all that.
Oh, so it comes with the body then?
Right, correct. Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll turn it back over to Jason.
John. Not speaking for myself, but for some folks that do some of their iPhone shooting, I mean, some of that stuff, if you've ever seen it, isn't bad.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we're looking for HD video, which an iPhone would have in the 16:9, the widescreen format.
So some folks that can do that are allowed to do that.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The more the merrier. Okay, turn it back over to Jason.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for what we had to see tonight. So a lot of creativity in the room, and it was some great speakers here tonight. So it's now up to you to get involved. So again, for more information, go to www.crowdsourcedkenosha.com. You're welcome. We'll be John and Marcia will be here to answer any questions and if you have any more to learn about Crowdsourced Kenosha. So thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you in October for the premiere.